I've never been this happy about seeing so many people cry in my life. I was truly overjoyed. I think me and Vishal, like, the more tears we saw, we were like, yaar, wo log hamare liye ro rahe hain.
Hi all, it's Silesh Ram, AsianCultureVulture.com. We're at the Cannes Film Festival, edition 78, and I'm with the amazing cast of Homebound, which had its world premiere at the Cannes Film Festival yesterday. I'm with the cast here, Ishaan Khatter, Vishal Jethwa and Janhvi Kapoor. Welcome to AsianCultureVulture.com. How are you?
Thank you for having us.
Very good, sir. Very good. Thank you.
Good to hear.
About to fly off any second now.
Indeed. So it's very windy, but
let's pretend it's not.
Let's pretend it's not, absolutely. So I want you, most people who are watching this won't have seen the film. So I really like you to talk about your characters individually for a little bit, so people get an idea of the kind of person you're playing in the movie.
Okay. So, the name of my character is Chandan Kumar, and he's a common man. You see him everywhere. He's like a next door person, not physically, but mentally, emotionally, and everything he thinks is, he is a person who aspires to be something, and he's not kind of a person who will just go chill and play. He'll just do anything he shouldn't do. Also you'll see a lot of layers in his character, like he has few issues with himself, which is accepting his own self, accepting his identity. He has a little fear of judgment, and it is a journey about accepting yourself, and my character shows the same. It talks about poverty, it talks about It talks about what privilege, acceptance. So it is a journey, and it is not easy to accept yourself. It takes time. Sometimes it takes 10 years or 5 years, or it depends on person to person. So it shows what kind of side effects people have to face while accepting yourself. And this is a big thing. We do not even look after it, and we do not even think that this thing also exists. So my character is that.
My character's name is Shoaib, or Muhammad Shoaib Ali. He's a young man in rural northern India who's navigating his way across life and society as it is in contemporary India. And I think the fulcrum of the film, the core of the film, is his friendship and relationship with his best mate, his best friend Chandan. He's a young man who is relentlessly moving forward despite the obstacles in his life. He wants to make something of himself. In a way, he's an eternal optimist. He loves his country and doesn't want to leave it, but his father's urging him to move to Dubai, where he could find a job as a mechanic and perhaps live a more comfortable life. Essentially, the story is his wading through, the circumstances and events that unfold in him trying to become somebody and relieve the financial pressure off of his family.
So I play the character of Sudha Bharti. I think in many ways she's, I guess, the moral compass or sort of catalyst in Chandan's life especially. And I think she's a very interesting character because she's an odd combination of extreme idealism, but she's also incredibly pragmatic. And I found her to be a very different sort of female character, especially in Hindi cinema. She knows what she wants, she's extremely politically aware, she says what she feels. And I think the gentle negotiation that takes place, more often than not, I feel like most women are sort of familiar with an equation where they gently negotiate their friends, their fathers, their brothers, their husbands, their partners to see life a certain way. And I think especially when you're extremely passionate about a certain belief system, like she is, I think that fervor carries forth and you have this responsibility to sort of to sort of encourage that kind of awareness in others. And I think she carries that responsibility and takes it very seriously. And I think she cares very deeply about Chandan's character and feels the need to empower him through awareness in many ways. And then she kind of realizes that maybe the approach is sort of insensitive at times. I've just given it all away. I should have said
I
less.
think you made it really interesting for people because the movie is about dreamers in some ways, but very realistic dreams, and they are idealists in some ways as too. But they face a lot of challenges. So what's the aspect of the character that was the most difficult part for you to get into?
I think it was, for me, it was quite as simple as just getting close enough to really understand the strife and to really understand the struggle, if I may say so. I think all of us have become acutely aware of the privileges that we have, and it's really difficult to navigate through society when you're in a position where there are more have-nots than haves, and I think that for me the most difficult thing was to not to emotionally connect with this character, but to really understand the context. And other than that, it was the physical challenge of doing the kind of scenes in the work that we were doing on a tight schedule. We would travel long distances. So it was day after day. It was a joy and a pleasure because it was such a great team. So it didn't feel like work, but it was physically exhausting. So,
No, I think you're all amazing, and the way you've encompassed those characters is brilliant. But it's obviously quite removed, did you say, from maybe your everyday
Absolutely,
life. So,
yeah.
how did you? What was the way of getting into these people's lives?
Well, I think for me it started with Neeraj sir, like Ishaan mentioned earlier. He'd keep telling us to walk to the character. Don't expect the character to come to you. I mean, you get handed a script and like a bunch of literature and you have your director guiding you, but you need to make, especially with a film like this, which all of us approached with a sense of social responsibility. I think it was important to really understand and your characters as much as possible. And I think for me that started with familiarizing myself with the kind of literature that Sudha's belief system and politics were based off of. So I really deep dove into that, and as far as the most complicated part of the character, I think I'd say for me, it also enlightened me a lot about. I think in cinema, that especially when you deal with themes like the ones that we have in our film, there's a generalization of the haves and the have-nots. But I think even within those systems, Sudha specifically, she is from a certain community that I guess has faced a certain amount of social exclusion. But even within that, there are different sorts of social capital and privileges, and sort of find that balance, especially relative to both their characters, was something to
Vishal,
navigate.
could you identify a lot because you've broken into Bollywood without, maybe having the same kind of connections or family background?
Yeah, I didn't have this privilege to choose anything. So, I could relate to this little bit there, but it was definitely challenging in different ways also. Like there were two big weapons that I had to get into the role. One was the script. I think script had everything in it, and what I do is I read the script a lot and then I trust my director. And here our director Neeraj sir has spent I think 4 to 5 years to prepare one film and one script, so I had full trust on him. Also it was physically also challenging for me because I had to lose 10 kgs. When I started shooting, I was 64. When I completed shooting, I checked my weight to gain, and I checked it. I started with 54. So it was physically also very challenging for me. At the same time, to understand the role, because we stay in a very different way, the way these characters stay. So I used to go to the village and I used to sit there for a few hours and I used to read my script there only so that I can understand and I can see where this character belong from. And I think all these small things added a lot to the role. Even when I watched the film yesterday, I felt like this is not me. This is some character. This is some character, because now I'm out of that role. But when I saw the film, I felt like this is Chandan, this is Shoaib, this is Sudha, and that was a big win for all of us, because this is the compliment we all are craving for. That we don't look like Vishal, Janhvi and Ishaan. We look like Chandan, Sudha and Shoaib. So that was something we could achieve, and I'm grateful for that.
How did you feel yesterday when, after there was tremendous reaction? What's it like to be in Cannes? Is this your first Cannes for?
I've never been this happy about seeing so many people cry in my life. I was truly overjoyed. I think me and Vishal, like, the more tears we saw, we were like, yaar, wo log hamare liye ro rahe hain.
What is it that director Neeraj Ghaywan drew out of you for this character? What part of the characters has stayed with you, if anything?
Go ahead.
I think it's a deeply sensitive, thoughtful, evocative film, which are rare to come by as it is. For me, I think the process from the very beginning, like he said, was very immersive. We were, the first thing that we actually did in order to prep for this, other than exercises and dialect work and readings and things that we started early on in the city where we come from, we took a trip to a rural town. We took a trip to a village, and we would spend actually multiple villages, and we would spend days just interacting with the sights, the sounds, the people. Like he said, we would sit in these houses, read the script. The first time Neeraj physically narrated the film to us, because we were each given the script to read. But we decided to do this just to create an energy and be in sync with each other. It was the three of us, Vishal, Neeraj sir and I.
Acting, I think. I mean, I don't know whether you had much time.
I mean, it's just a wonderful process. I think we were there for about 6 days, if I'm not wrong, but it felt like a lifetime lived in 6 days, and it was just such a rich experience, and ironically, and it really was, because I feel it's very difficult to sit in an office and conjure up a character, and here we were trying to do something that was deeply rooted and grounded. And in a way, it would be a disservice to, look down upon these characters. The idea was always to represent it in as genuine a way as possible. So I think Neeraj really led from the front in kind of bringing us as close as he could to these characters. For me, it was Shoaib's resilience, his quiet maturity, his relentless support for his friend in finding himself, accepting himself. I think Shoaib was at a point in his life where he had accepted a lot about not only himself but the circumstances and environment he was in. But despite that, you see the struggles, the internal struggles, the conflicts that you have to go through. And
beautifully portrayed.
Thank you so much.
I think we're being asked to wrap up. I could go on for longer, but thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Great. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.